This week, we watched The Devil All the Time with Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, and some other idiot.
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, that one. I totally
Haley
forgot.
Bennett.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
He didn't look like himself at all in this movie, so that's why it took me a while to realize that was Sebastian Stan in it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to start with the non-spoiler review first. So if you haven't seen it, we'll give you a rating and all that good stuff and recommend it to you if we want to. And then we'll go to spoilers.
First thing
Oh, boy.
I have to say about this movie. Boring as hell. And not ironic.
It was pretty.
It was
pretty
super
long.
boring.
Yeah.
Long-winded.
It was kind of crazy, but...
After my first watch through, I was like, wow, this is really good. But I think I have to watch it again because I feel like there's no way that this much stuff went over my head because I felt like the story felt like incomplete. And I watched it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, it's just boring.
That just me. Okay, I thought it was just me. The ending makes you feel very empty. Like it feels like because this movie separates all these different plot lines and people, and it connects them to our central character, which is Tom Holland at the end. But then it's like it's like they lead to such a big dead end. It's like, okay, like.
Well, it felt like a dead end because the main character was never treated like a main character. None of the characters were treated like a main character. It all felt like a bunch of side characters. So whenever they did stuff together and like they started to put the pieces together, you're like,
it felt like something was
all right, but where's the main character? It felt like Bill Skarsgård character, which was Tom Holland's dad. It felt like he was the main character out of everything. It felt like it should have just followed him through the movie, and I would have been totally okay with it. They didn't. And from his part after, it all went downhill.
And it's sad because I thought Bill Skarsgård was like the best actor. Like I really loved his scenes.
By far, he was the best actor. He had the best performance. I think they wrote his character the best. His storyline, genuinely, like watching his stuff, I almost cried like watching half of his stuff. Like
I know
it was ridiculously sad.
It was good.
Like right off the jump, I was like, "Oh my god, this is such a sad movie. I'm not gonna leave feeling very okay." And then after that, everything felt meaningless. Everything was meaningless
after that, he was just exit left out of the movie.
Yeah, it hit the emotional peak right there, and after that, you didn't feel any emotion for any other character.
And that's the thing, because after that, you're supposed to follow his son, which is Tom Holland, but it's like it focuses so much on the other plot lines and then goes back to him, connected to him, but you don't have any connection with him at all. Like anyone could have been the main character if they really wanted to.
Part of the reason is because they didn't give his character any dialogue at all. He maybe said like 7, 8 words.
That's true. I hate that.
The other reason,
what's the point?
That they didn't give him a lot of dialogue is because when he did talk, his accent was god awful. Like that was the worst Southern accent I've ever heard in my entire life. But that's what come I said.
You can't say anything if you're from the North. We're from the South.
That's what come I said. I thought he was a bad act. Like I thought of him as a lower tier actor now because his accent was so bad that they didn't give him dialogue because of how bad it was. Like it was not good in the slightest. Like I really like Tom Holland as an actor, but like God, he could not pull that accent off to save his life. It sounded so bad.
Robert Pattinson, I thought he had a funny accent.
His made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, it made me laugh. Delusions. We forgot to mention, but this movie's based. It's like set in the 1950s, like in Ohio or like West Virginia, somewhere like that, in like a small town. So there's that. And like we said, each character in this movie has their own little like plot line that they go on, and that's all I can say about spoilers.
I feel like it's a good idea, like having each character a plot line. Like in theory, it would be a good idea, but I think it's so hard to execute, and they didn't do it at all.
And you can tell because some of the plots were a lot weaker than the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't This movie's hard to describe without spoilers.
And that's what makes it a bad movie, in my opinion, is you can't describe it. The only thing I can describe it as a hodgepodge of bad Southern accents and very weak storylines.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
I guess the most I could say is each plotline shows a different character doing awful things. So like the quote unquote devil all the time was that even like if you're this like saint, like you still have the devil with you, or you can do devilish acts no matter what. And then we're supposed to see Tom Holland as this not like good guy, but he's like he can do bad things, but he chooses not to kind of thing. Even though like towards the end it's like no, they're all the same. Like there's nothing interesting about him, about like the plot or anything about what just happened. I felt like a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I wasted 6 hours of my life because I watched it twice.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about watching it twice because the first viewing, I was so like conflicted. Like I literally sat there like, let's say I finished up like 1 a.m. I sat there for like another hour and a half just thinking about it. Like, because I was like, I don't know how to
me too.
put this into words.
I finished watching it and I was like, did they do something there? And I was so confused. So I watched it a second time and I was like, nope, you guys just bad.
No, they didn't.
It's sad to see such a waste of talent too.
Yeah, for real. I'm very disappointed in the way it came out.
There was some very special. There was one particular scene between Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland. I love that one scene. But
which scene?
I
guess you can't say.
I love that scene, but
since it's like hard to describe the movie, we can read off the Netflix summary real quick and then just go into the spoilers.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like people listening, they don't know what we're to even talk about. We're just how bad it is.
We
described it.
We were just talking about acting, and we didn't really talk about the story. We just said that like it follows multiple people and it sucked because they did that.
Yeah. It was an okay movie. That's it.
The issue with it was it tried to follow too many people, and it made it more complicated, and it was fluff. It wasn't like there was too much downtime between the main character's parts and the other people's parts, and some of the other people's parts didn't even need to be there at all. So
none of it really like fits together either. It's just like
I think it fit because the way they wanted it, like it all connected in the end. But like other than.
But even then,
yeah, even then, it's like
it felt forced. Like it was supposed to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It was supposed to show like how natural that it can feel, but nothing about it felt natural.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to read the summary?
Yeah.
So all it says is sinister characters converge around a young man devoted to protecting those he loves in a post-war backwoods town teeming with corruption and brutality.
You see, and
so like even
that's about what we said, except we didn't say it converged around him. He crossed paths. He crossed paths with them, but they weren't all forced upon him.
Yeah.
Like let's go look for this kid. Like no, they were all living their own lives, doing their own thing, and it just supposedly happened that they crossed paths.
Well, just want to go to the spoiler?
Yeah.
What are we going to give our
ratings?
Yeah.
I'd give it a 6.
Excuse me? What just came out of your mouth?
What are you giving it, Edward?
You just give it an above-average score? This was not an above-average movie.
I like I said, I thought it was okay. It was not a good movie, but it had
its
moments.
6 is average. 7 is average.
This movie was a 4 at best. I'm giving it a 3.
No,
this movie was awful.
It wasn't as bad as a 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. I would put
I'm gonna give it
in the same realm as Last Days of American Crime.
Oh, hell no. No, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it was that bad. The only difference is that they had better acting performances because they had better actors. That was the only difference.
I'm gonna give it a.
I'm giving it a 6. I'm sticking with it.
Edward, you're gonna be mad. I always give high ratings though, and I'm also gonna give it a 6.
What is wrong with you?
But
I hate you.
To be fair, I always give like high.
And how are you
ratings
gonna say 7 is an average score when literally the average between 1 and 10 is 5?
Who said 7 was average?
Anthony.
No, that's.
I was like, what?
I think 6 to 7 is average for like most movies that we watch. Well, no, just most movies. Most movies that, like in general, I feel like I would rate between a 6 and a 7. So like for me, that would be average.
Yeah, I'm gonna just
probably a 6.
Sucks. I think I gave Last Days of American Crime a 1. So by giving this a 3, I'm admitting that it had better acting and a slightly better story, but for the most part, it felt just as bad.
Dang.
All right, we're gonna go right into the.
That was it.
We wouldn't recommend it, so we go right into the spoilers.
Wait,
for this
we gotta
movie.
tell them bye.
Say you wouldn't recommend it and then give it an above-average score. That makes no sense.
I wouldn't. It was okay. You can watch it, but I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, there's better stuff to watch.
I would recommend saving your time and not watching it at all. That's
yeah. Well, we'll see y'all later. In case some of y'all are leaving.
Stand by if you want to hear
subscribe though.
Rant. Yep, you better subscribe. Thanks for listening.
Say hi to your mom for us.
All right.
Anyways,
right to the spoilers. You know,
so now the same thing.
I guess this movie was pretty linear, so we'll go linear.
You want to go linear?
Yeah,
okay, so it starts off with.
If we don't.
Yeah, it starts off with Bill Skarsgård. His character's named Willard Russell, Bill Russell. That came back. He came back from his station from World War II. He's headed back to his town in West Virginia. He met a waitress. He fell in love with her. His mom, I forget some of the names. His mom promised this other girl that he would marry her if God brought him back home safe, which God did. So she was like, oh, you need to marry this girl. And then the girl was like, nah. And then he was like, nah. And then he went back to that waitress and married her instead. And they had a kid named Arvin. The girl that was promised to him, her name was Helen. And she married a reverend. His name was Reverend Roy. They had a kid together. They also had a daughter. Their daughter was named Lenora. One day she gave her daughter to the Willards and Roy killed her.
That was like an awful summary of what happened there.
Roy,
I'm going down what I wrote on the list.
Okay.
Roy was.
I wasn't going a summary.
Let me be
linear, so
crazy.
Let me be a little bit more specific with what happened here. Okay. So dude got back from war. Had his kid with the lady that he met at the diner, right? Moved to a different town. This is important. They moved to a different town than where the mother was at, and that girl that he was supposed to marry was like family at that point. So while he was off living this life over here in a different town, the girl was stayed back in that hometown with their mom and the uncle, and they were the girl that he was supposed to marry went with her husband on a walk, and the reverend was like, before this, he like gave like this huge sermon on how if you trust in the Lord, you don't have anything to fear. So he would just dump spiders on himself. And
yeah, that was crazy.
He got bit by a spider one time, freaked out, was like, bro, God, you're supposed to have my back. And he felt like he did something wrong. So he started going crazy in the head. He felt that God had told him, trust me. Was like, hey, do you still trust me? If you still trust me, kill your wife and I'll bring her back. All right. So after that, as I was saying before, God, he felt, in air quotes, God came, told him to kill his wife to trust him again. So he goes, he does that, takes her out into the woods, stabs her in the neck, and he just stands there and he's like, all right, Lord, I did what you said. Bring back my wife. And
we didn't mention this is a really religious movie, kind of.
And then
that's a whole
nothing happened.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh crap. So he ran off because he realized he's a murderer now.
Mm-hmm.
Runs off with his brother, which leaves Lenora, their daughter, orphaned with grandmother
Miss
and the
Russell,
uncle.
your grandmother and the uncle.
It was around here that I realized while editing this that this part was really boring and complicated to listen to because the plot was so complicated you can't really describe it with words. So I'm going to just speed this up and we'll jump back to our criticism. That was 15 minutes of me just spewing. And
I wanted to say something, but
I
I didn't want
hope
to interrupt
by
you.
me saying that, you both understand how much wasted time there was. Because I didn't mention anything about the Hitchhiker's Killers storyline at all. Those three storylines could have went whoosh out the movie. The movie would have been the exact same. Could have been the exact same movie. So there is a whole hour and a half extra movie that didn't exist, didn't need to exist, didn't do anything, only made the movie worse.
I could argue it would have been a bit better if they did the Hitchhiker like first scene killing that priest, and then at the end when we don't expect it, Tom Holland like finds them, and we're like, oh shit, they still exist. Like we forgot about those people at the beginning of the movie.
Which is exactly why this movie is a 3, because it wasted a third of its runtime.
Terrible.
In total,
where are you?
That storyline alone wasted 3 hours of my life because I watched the movie twice. That I'll never get back.
So where are we picking off then? Picking off from since?
Yeah, where are you not gonna
cut?
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, so then you're gonna cut this part. I thought, like Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård did a real good job, but I did think two of the best parts of the movie were just the whole intro with Bill Skarsgård and the scene between Pattinson and Tom Holland, like their confrontation. Those are the two best parts of the movie to me.
The movie would have excluded the 2 serial killers and the cop storyline. Cut that out completely. And it would have ended after Tom Holland shot Robert Pattinson. Movie would have been easily at 8 or a 9. Right? Easily, if it would have stopped, if it would have stopped right there, 7 or an 8. Not even 8 or 9. Probably 7 or an 8.
And it's not even a good ending either because Tom Holland's still excluded. But that would have been an hour and a half movie easy right there. The movie would have been an hour and a half. But they decided to add another hour and a half of useless filler crap, waste of time, ruined the entire movie for me. Literally half of that movie could have been cut out, and it would have made this movie a better movie. Right, like 10 times better of a movie.
It's really sad, but it's true.
Or even if they just didn't go like as in depth as they did.
No, like if they wouldn't have had it at all.
No,
it would have made it a significantly better movie.
I think if they didn't go as in depth, then it would have just been weaker storylines, but still just.
It would have been just as much time wasted, but it wouldn't have, you could have made the 2 parts separate movies, and they would have been pretty good separate movies. But you put 2 separate movies together and tried to put them, and it didn't work. They were both.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Trash. You put 2 decent movies together, and it made garbage. Absolute garbage.
I can't believe it's based on a book.
After the first 30 minutes, the movie wasn't the same. It was a completely terrible movie after the first 30 minutes.
It's a tale of 2 halves. Quarters.
Well,
4 quarters.
I'm pretty sure even the book was split up into 2 different parts.
I don't know. I don't know.
Think.
God, I couldn't imagine reading this as a book. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah,
I really think there was like 2 different parts of the book, like that it was split up.
And I didn't care about. I don't know. I didn't care about a single character. Maybe the dad.
Neither did I.
Y'all won't know this because I cut it out. But I just spent easily 20, 30 minutes explaining the plot of the movie. And I just wasted time by talking about it.
I was going to say...
And he just immediately cut it out because...
The more Edwards explained just every single storyline, how long it took him, it gave me a headache. It really did.
Yeah, and I watched this movie twice.
I have a headache.
Yeah.
And then and every plot line was cut ties. Every character in every single plot line besides Arvin died.
There's no point in this movie. This movie had no business being 3 hours long. Easily could have cut it down to an hour and a half. Easily.
Here's the thing that could have worked. Okay, so I was reading up on it. They said that supposedly they were pitching a mini series, not a movie, not a full movie, a mini series.
Wow.
And I thought that could work better than what they try to do here, mushing it all together.
No, a mini series would have been just as boring.
This is the old man in the sea of movies.
A miniseries would not have done this any justice. It would have. This is like if you put a miniseries, all the episodes, strung it together into one thing, and this is what you would have gotten.
No, I think it would help establish more character and background. Like you probably wouldn't have to jump so far.
The issue with this was it had too much character background to begin with.
Yeah, it didn't need it
because they had this. They strung it up in such a short period of time.
No, it didn't need it. It didn't need it at all. You did not need to know about the serial killers' lives. They didn't matter. They were just plot devices in the end. That's all they were used, was to further Arvin's story.
Okay.
Even then, that Arvin's story didn't even need to go that long. It should have stopped whenever he shot Robert Pattinson in the church. That would have been the perfect ending for it. Shouldn't have gone any farther. Everything after that, all the serial killer stuff, absolutely useless. Should not have existed. Stupid. Waste of time. Yeah, after, talking about it out loud for this long, I'm giving the movie a 2.
Dang.
This was the biggest waste of time I've ever, encountered.
Are you going to compare it? You didn't compare it to reviewers.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I did.
No, he just said the scores.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Comparing our scores to others.
I thought you meant you were looking for reviews.
What did you think of Noah? Are you going to change your score? I'll probably.
It gave me a headache after talking about it. I'm going with a 5.
I hate that
y'all convinced us that we're
average. I still hate that y'all are saying it's an average. I don't see any other reason that anyone should ever give a story like this a good score. I get there is deep religious opinions and stuff in it, and I really like the religious parts, like the religious tie-ins and stuff. I really enjoy that part.
Yeah, I like them too.
But it didn't need to exist.
I say in a week from here, we post this on our story, and y'all tell us if you liked it or if you didn't, and if you did, why you liked it. It's specifically, or why you didn't like it. Because I'm really curious to know.
If you want to be part of that poll, follow our Instagram at _thehooliganhangout_. Check us out on all platforms. The movie review section of the podcast will be up on our YouTube channel, and we do post loads of other content on our YouTube channel at the Hooligan Hangout as well. So, we'll see you next time. Right. Say hi to your moms for us.